Hey, welcome to another episode of Freedom on Fire. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. Now, I'm not in my normal setup. I'm actually in my studio. I was woken. I work late. I was woken up to the news about Donna, Brazile. And wow, what a week in politics. We got some people going down for the Mueller investigation. We got people, we got the Podesta group being looked at. Donna Brazile come out with talking about the money laundering going on. I'm going to go through the story in Politico, but wow, what a week in news. I want to say something real quick before we go into this because this is so important. We should never, ever, ever support and push forward corruption. We should not be one-sided when it comes to corruption. You should not dare look at corruption on one side and not look at the own corruption going on. I daily look at my own corruption that's going on in me. Everybody has a hint of corruption. They just have to press it down or mash it down where it don't gain the ascendancy and lead our lives. Everybody is tempted to do corrupt things. The thing is, you have to not yield to the temptation. You have to find some way to develop your character to be a character of honor and the character of integrity. That is what's missing in politics. We are not looking for that person of character and integrity. And if we do see that person, we'll railroad that character to keep the status quo of current corruption going on. Now, me and you won't, because we're enlightened and we're working on bettering ourselves. And as we better ourselves, we better our community, we better our state, we better our country, and we ultimately better the world. But the bottom line is we must fight against corruption no matter where it is. And we definitely cannot keep supporting corruption. Now, what got us Trump to this day is the lesser of two evil philosophy, or the lesser of corruption philosophy. Well, she's less corrupt than he, or he is less corrupt than she. And that is the very thing that got us the president that we have right now. Now, I believe people can change. People can have Paul experience and totally become transformed and do something great for society. But currently in this situation right now, Trump is not doing anything to better the people. Most of the policies I see better the rich, the wealthy, the well-off, the well-to-do, his people. And I keep telling people Trump is more classist than racist or sexist. Sure, I believe he got a hint of racism in him. Most people got a bit of racism in there. That's still part of that corruption that you just got to press down and not let it get the ascendancy over you. Everybody has it. Some has it more than the others. Some are just don't know how to control, and it's just blatant. Hillary Clinton just as racist as Trump. He's just more outspoken about his, and she's a little down low. Everybody can deal with it. So I'm talking about corruption right now, and it brings me to this point right now. Because I got people on my side, people on my culture, people on our side, we lean toward Democrats, and we always looking at Trump, talking about, but Trump bad, Trump this, Trump gonna kill us all, Trump gonna, that's what they said about Obama when the first black man became president, or first halfway black, half white mix, but in my community still black. That's what they said about Obama. This tip and tap going, this doesn't help. This doesn't help. Obama gonna bring the country down. Trump is gonna bring the country down. Yeah, both of them are. Why? Because we keep voting the lesser of two evils instead of looking for the greater good and catapulting that. Now, there was a person that I voted for in this election cycle were the greater of the good. I don't fall to lesser of two evils, because all you're going to do is keep getting evil and corruption in office and in politics, and we got too much of that stuff going on in Capitol Hill, which brings me to Robert Mueller. I keep telling you that this Mueller thing about this Russian probe, he's going to use this to do a whole bunch of other things, mainly rooting out corruption in Congress. And he's not even, look, and people say he should recuse himself. Why should he recuse himself? Why should he? My thing is, if you're going to be fair and go out to both parties, go for it. Go for it. But you got to be fair. If I see you doing one side of things, you do need to be recused. That's being a hack. a hack. You got to be fair. And when I saw him come out with these indictments against Paul Manafort, and when I saw the charges, which had nothing to do with Russia, it was money laundering, put money in dummy corporation, shell corporation, trying to avoid taxes. That's what is bringing him down. And other people are singing like canaries, but they're not singing like canaries to support the Trump-Russia narrative, which they're also a Clinton-Russia narrative that don't get talked about in news. That WikiLeaks already exposed that, which they have, as Donna Brazile, and I'm getting to her, ample evidence of Clinton, Obama, the State Department, Russia, uranium, all that clicking together. Bill Clinton doing the speech and getting paid close to $1 million. All that plays in. So there's a Russian probe, just mean Russian probe. It is not a Trump-Russia probe. It's a Russian probe into the U.S. elections, which there was not a Russian hacking. James Clapper said that. This was, and it still continued to look like an inside job in the DNC, probably for somebody who saw the corruption going on in the party and decided to expose it. And the best way to expose it is not to go before the news, because nobody's going to believe him. They're going to bury him, literally, in the case of Selfridge and Mr. Lucas, who served the DNC papers. But this went to Julian Assange, who took the helm and continued to expose corruption. So I hope Mueller take a page out of Julian Assange and expose corruption wherever it is. Don't think Republicans, Julian Assange, is one-sided either. He's going to expose corruption wherever there is. Why? Because he is a whistleblower. And then we need those. And we need more whistleblowers. I'm not an investigator, so I can't blow a whistle for nothing. But I just report the news and give my commentary on it. So, if Robert Mueller is going to be like Julian Assange and expose corruption no matter where it is, then this is a good thing for the country. To root out evil and corruption. We're going to always have it, but we need more of integrity, honor, greater good going on in politics. Now, we saw a hint of that in Bernie Sanders, but Bernie Sanders succumbed to corruption. He decided to support a candidate of corruption. That's why a lot of people left the party, and a lot of people are fouled about him. And a lot of people don't want to have nothing to do with him as long as he continued to support the corrupt. Me including. Love you, Bernie, but I don't love you that much. I will always fight for the greater good in people. And I always will push for the greater good for the community and for the country, not the lesser of two evils. Now, back to the story, Donna Brazile. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Going to read the story. This is from Politico. Now, you already heard this story over and over again. But I'm going to give you my quick take on it because I've been talking about this for quite a long time. I mentioned right after the WikiLeaks about the Ready for Hillary Foundation or Fund and the we're going to just go over it. It was the Ready for Hillary campaign and the so-called super PAC or whatever they call for raising money for Hillary Clinton, which allowed her the opportunity to take full control of the Democratic Party, who was bleeding in money. And before I go into the story, the bottom line is, I told you before, Obama is a great campaigner. He knows how to win an election. The problem is, which the son Sanders is not doing, he never took the time out to raise money and push for candidates, especially those who were going to be running in the Senate a year or two later in 2010. And that's how we end up losing, or at that time, I was at that time a registered Democrat, but I was still leaning independent. At that time, I worked on the Obama campaign, and we needed to maintain the House and Senate if we were going to get a lot of things done that we dreamed of getting done, like, universal health care, no-cost college education, and things like that. We need the majority. But because Obama didn't take his organization, Organizing for America, and raise up candidates and push those candidates in office, he decided we'll just keep the candidates right here. I'm not going to go against them. And that's how we lost the majority in the House and the Senate. And that's why we end up with Obamacare, and that's why he could not get much done in office. And it's not anybody else's fault but his, because he didn't go out and campaign for those people. Bring us to this. The DNC was starving of money to campaign for people. Starving. They were losing money. Most of the money was going to Obama for America, not the Democratic National Convention. Now, Obama put Debbie Wasserman Schultz in charge, but there still was not a money-making juggernaut going on. My biggest mistake, I believe he made, his biggest mistake, was putting Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State. Glad he didn't put her head of the DNC, not from what I'm seeing right now. So let's get right into the story. That's just a segue into the situation today of Donna Brazile exposing the DNC. Now, look, just don't give her no pass. She's a crook. She's a cheat. She's what I call one of the witches of Washington, D.C. Her, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Hillary Clinton. I can add in Neera Tanden. I can add in what's the other one? I can't think of her name. Anyway, witches of Washington, D.C. Dianne Feinstein, all of them. This one is entitled, and this was in Political Magazine, Inside Hillary Clinton's Secret Takeover of the DNC. And I've been telling you that. There is a reason why these people decided not to go against Hillary Clinton when they knew Bernie had a better chance of beating Hillary Clinton. And for those people who say, well, that still doesn't mean she took votes away from Bernie Sanders. Yeah, that's the same thing as that still don't mean Russia took votes away from Hillary Clinton in the Democratic general election, in the U.S. general elections. Still no proof of Russia having nothing to do with it. These people just don't like her. She suck. Suck. She suck. So people over there blogging or on Twitter talking about still don't even look. Yes, it does mean that she took votes from Bernie Sanders. First of all, whenever you start personally taking out a loan, and I'm going to go into this, to keep the DNC afloat, that means you become in charge of the DNC. That's why money in politics is bad, because that money is a hook into you. And she hooked right into the DNC when she loaned them money. Number two, when she started the so-called Ready for Hillary Victory Fund, or Hillary Victory Fund, that was designed to raise money for those running for election in that state, but majority of the money did not go to those people. It went to the DNC to help her fund the campaign. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. Number three, as long as you have superdelegates, you're taking votes away and you're controlling them. And how do you control them? By making sure these people are depending on you, and you basically have a hook in them with your money. That's control. So when you're controlling the superdelegates, well, they can't be free to make a decision. Why? Because they're afraid of what's going to happen if they don't support you. You're taking away votes. You're controlling the votes. I'm quite sure there was a lot of people that would have went toward Bernie Sanders, but because Hillary bailed them out, they weren't going to do it. Number four. When you decide that we're going to have most of these elections early, and we're going to make it impossible for you to change your affiliations, you have to change it early, and you know you got the name recognition and the other person don't, that's taking away votes, because you're not allowing them to vote up to at least a month before the actual election date for the primaries for that state. That's why we need same-day registration. Number 5, When you close the primaries, it's no foreign thing that when you close the primaries, like you did in the South, when you make them close primaries, you're gonna get the edge. There's no mistake about it, buddy. No mistake about it. When you close the primaries, especially in the South, and your name recognition is down there with the blacks in the South, my people, you're gonna get the advantage. So closing the primaries is putting people in a position where in order for them to vote, they have to join the party. And most people who want to vote don't want to be a part of a party. They just want to vote. Again, taking votes away or blocking votes. Throwing people off the rolls in Brooklyn, taking away from votes, blocking votes. Not letting independents give a say-so into your campaign to give you the boost. That's taking away votes. So go somewhere with that taking away vote stuff. They taking away from votes from the simple fact of how the system is rigged. That is blocking votes, yet it is also taking away from votes. In other words, people who want to vote for some candidate in your party, want to vote for a candidate in your party and willing to support them in the general election, you won't let them do it in the primaries. Why? Because you want to control who gets to be the nominee, not the people. You're afraid if you open the primaries, the people will select the selection, and you might not want that selection, and you probably can't afford to have that selection. Why? Because this other person who you want been funding you all this time. Now let me get into it. This is Donna Brazile. When I was asked to run the Democratic Party after the Russian hacks, so-called Russian hack, she's still saying after the Russians hacked our email. Stop it, Donna. See, that's why she's still a crook, y'all, and still a hack. I stumbled onto shocking truth about the Clinton campaign. Now, if you know this is going on in the campaign, you know this phony narrative about Russia is phony. And I ain't talking about the singing group. All right, I said, before I called Bernie Sanders, I lit a candle in my living room, put on some gospel music. I wanted to center myself for what I knew would be an emotional phone call. Oh, here we go with the tears and the crime. I had promised Bernie when I took the helm of the Democratic National Convention after the election that I would get to the bottom of whether Hillary Clinton's team had rigged the nomination process, as a cache of emails stolen by the Russian hackers. Still no evidence of a Russian hacker. You have no evidence. Shut up. Shut up. I hate telling people shut up, but shut up. You talking out of your behind. You have no evidence, no tangible evidence. And when it comes to actually getting access to the very source of the evidence, the DNC server, you refuse to give it to the FBI. Now, why would you refuse to give it to the FBI? Because you know there's stuff on there that you don't want them to know. You'll realize that it was an inside job, and possibly people could have got killed or murdered as a result of finding out the truth. You know, I get upset with these Russian hackers. And posted online and had suggested, Julian Assange put that out. You don't know who gave that information. I'd had my suspicion from the moment I walked in the door of the DNC a month or so earlier based on the leaked emails. But who knew if some of them might have been forged? I need to have solid proof, and so did Bernie. Who forged? Who gonna sit there and waste time trying to forge thousands of emails? Who got that time, Donna? Think about it. See, now you make me believe that Hillary Clinton is right. Because I would never call you a water buffalo, but this, like she did, and threw a glass at you, allegedly, from what I heard, at that debate. I would never call you a water buffalo, but this make me think you got a buffalo's brain. So I followed the money, which everybody should do. My predecessor, Florida Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or Debbie do anything for Hillary, or Debbie watch her, man, she sucks, Schultz, had not been the most active chair in fundraising at the time when President Barack Obama neglect had left the party in significant debt. She is right. Debbie Wasserman Schultz sucks. Hillary Clinton sucks. Well, they all still part of the witches of Washington, D.C. They all are together. They're all on the same team. Don't you dare get it twisted. And she's right. President Barack Obama drained it from funding. He didn't help put money back into that fund once he got elected. He put the money going to Obama for America, or Organizing for America. Obama neglect had left the party in significant debt. As Hillary's campaign gained momentum, she resolved the party's debt and put it on a starvation diet. It had become dependent on her campaign for survival. In other words, the DNC was depending on Hillary for survival. In other words, they needed her to survive. So when somebody holds the key to your survival, you're willing to do anything to survive. We're talking about a survival mode now. Survival. It had become dependent on her campaign for survival, for which she expected to wield control of its operation. There we go. And I've been saying it along. This is all a part of her controlling the whole entire organization. That is why she can go on TV and basically say, it's mine. I got it. It's wrapped up. It's in the bag. I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm winning. But why I'm not at 50%? Because you're winning within the party and not outside the party. Because everybody knows you are in control of the party, the clean machine, as they say. Debbie was not a good manager. Ooh, wow, threw Debbie on the bus. She's right, Debbie sucked. You would have sucked too. Oh yeah, you would have, Donna. She had been very interested in controlling the party. She let Clinton's headquarters in Brooklyn do as it desired, so she didn't have to inform the party officers how bad the situation was. How much control Brooklyn had and for how long was still something I had been trying to uncover for the last few years. In September the 7th, the day I called Bernie, I had found my proof and it broke my heart. Really? Oh, it broke her heart. I found out the truth. Yet I could still go on TV talk about Russia, Hillary. That Saturday morning, the convention of July 1st, after the convention of July, I called Gary Gensler, the chief financial officer of Hillary's campaign. He wasted no words. He told me the Democratic Party was broke and $2 million in debt. Hold up. How was it broken $2 million in debt when you had all these people on your side giving to your campaign? How you end up in $2 million in debt? What? I screamed. I'm an officer of the party and they've been telling us everything is fine and they were raising monies with no problems. That wasn't true, he said. Officials from Hillary campaign had taken a look at the DNC books. She could take a look at the DNC books, but the FBI can't take a look at it. Obama left the party $24 million in debt. In other words, so you talking about scandals and Obama don't have no scandals? This is one. He left the party $24 million in debt, $15 million in bank debt, and more than $8 million owed to vendors after the 2012 campaign. And had been paying that off very slowly. Obama's campaign it wasn't that he wasn't paying off very slowly. A lot of that money was going into Organizing for America. He had been paying off very slowly. Obama's campaign was not scheduled to pay it off until 2016. Hillary for America, the campaign, and the Hillary Victory Fund is joint fundraising vehicle. Keyword, fundraising vehicle. Both the campaign, Hillary for America, a copy from Obama for America, trying to be Obama 2.0, and the Hillary Victory Fund is joint fundraisers, had taken care of 80% of the remaining debt in 2016 about $10 million and had placed the party on allowance. In other words, she took over the party, she became the mother of the party, and she put those little kids, the people running for office, on allowance. Basically saying, if you wash your dishes, if you clean the kitchen, if you clean your room, I'll give you this. In other words, if you support me, if you back me, if you don't resent, if you don't do what most of y'all did to me when Obama ran for president, turncoat on me, I'm going to take care of you when you run for office. Control. And y'all think she would have been better than Trump? No, both of them are controlling egomaniac. Imagine if she got control. If she can take over and use her money to control the entire organization and will and control the people running in office or in office as puppets and make them vote for her and stay loyal to her, what make you think she would do as the leader of this country? Anyway, let me get back into this. They have taken care of 80% of the remaining debt in 2016 for the Democratic National Convention. I repeat, people, listen to this. Hillary Clinton, Hillary for America, and the Hillary Victory Fund, a joint fundraising vehicle with the DNC, took care of 80% of the remaining debt in 2016, about $10 million, and had placed the party on allowance. Now, she went on saying she was broke, she ain't had no money. Girl, you took your money and bought the party. That's what you basically did. You bought them, which is illegal. You bought them. You bailed them out. And all you needed in return was them to kiss your behind and give you everything you want. Let me keep reading. If I did not know about this, Donna Brazile, you know about this. Come on, girl, stop this. You know about this. If I didn't know about this, I assume that none of the other officers know about it either. That was just Debbie's way. In my experience, she didn't come to the office of the DNC for advice and counsel. She seemed to make the decision on her own and let us know at the last minute what she had decided. And she had done as she had done when she told us about the hacking only minutes before the Washington Post broke the news. Again, it was a hacking, but it was an inside hacking. On the phone, Gary told me that the DNC had needed a $2 million loan, which the campaign had arranged. Arranged with who? Hillary Clinton. Now, Donna said to Gary, no, that can't be true. The party cannot take a loan without a unanimous agreement of all the officers. Now, here's the deal. They could take out a loan. They could basically get money for somebody, and we call it a loan. That way you can't get in trouble for it. But it's really a donation, because they weren't planning on paying Hillary Clinton back, and Hillary Clinton wasn't expecting them to pay. You don't want to know how you're going to pay me back if I give you this money? Make me the nominee by hook or crook and get me to the general election to defeat whoever wins so I can get this presidency. Gary, how did they do this without me knowing? I don't know how Debbie relates to the officer, Gary said. He described the party as fully under the control of Hillary's campaign, which seems to confirm the suspicion of the Bernie camp. The campaign had the DNC on life support. What campaign? The Hillary Clinton campaign, the Hillary for America and the Hillary Victory Fund had the entire DNC on life support, giving it money every month to meet its basic expenses. Giving it money every month to meet its basic expenses. In other words, giving them allowance. If you don't clean that kitchen, if you don't wash them dishes, if you don't clean up your room, and if you don't come in here with no good grades, don't expect to get nothing from me. And that's what Hillary Clinton did. She basically said, if you don't support me, if you don't back me in this election, I have the power to defund this whole entire organization. And look, people, if she had the power to disband, she literally had the financial power because Obama bailed out. To this day, he still ain't touching the DNC, except he tried to will control some kind of way where progressives don't get the ascendancy. She's basically saying, I'm bankrolling this whole operation. Now, I know about that. That's not a good feeling to have, man. I mean, when you got somebody, you know, you don't have the money and you got somebody bankrupting you, and they pretty much can have the control, and you can't go as far as you want to without them, because you don't have no money coming in yet, and you need them to lean on them to make this thing work that you got going on. I've been in that position where I had a friend of mine pretty much bankroll a vision I had for me and her, because I didn't have a job at that time. And boy, I felt vulnerable. I felt weak. And she was doing it out of good heart. I didn't think she would want to control anything. She saw this as a good thing for her too. But man, that does not feel good. And pretty much, whether they trying to control you or not, it puts you basically under their control. You put yourself under control. So I know what that's about. And that's what basically happened here in this situation. The whole entire Democratic Party bowed the knee, so to speak, in my Game of Thrones term, to the Queen, Hillary Clinton. Why? Because the Queen has the power, which was money, to keep this kingdom going. Let me keep going. The campaign had the DNC on life support, giving it money every month to meet its basic needs, the basics, while the campaign was using the party as a fundraising clearinghouse. A fundraising clearinghouse. This is Donna, Brazile. A fundraising clearinghouse. Under FEC law, that's why I said Mueller is going to have to go after Clinton. And that's why H.A. Goodman is right, and a whole bunch of other people are right, and I'm right for saying that Mueller is not just going to go after Trump cronies and anything that can lead to Trump. He's not going to get nothing about. There's no evidence of Russia helping Trump win an election. Those people did not like Hillary Clinton, and they didn't vote for her. That's the bottom line, and you just need to face that fact. People in the Rust Belt, she didn't even go to the Rust Belt. She didn't even talk to the people there. She didn't even offer what to do for them. Those people were starving, struggling. Her husband shipped their jobs overseas, and she had no promise of bringing it back. She offered them people nothing. And Donald Trump lied through his teeth and said, yeah, I'm going to offer you something. I'm going to offer you this, 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 and that. And they'll rather believe the liar with the hope of him making the truth than the person who wasn't going to do nothing at all. She sucked and she lost. Stop blaming Russia. Now, let me get back to this. Under the FEC law, an individual can contribute a maximum of $2,700 directly to the presidential campaign. But the limits are much higher for contribution to state parties and a party's national committee. So nationally, you, me, we only can give $2,700 directly to a person. But a company, they can give a bunch of money. State parties, they have higher contribution limits. Party national committees, the party's national committee, they can get a bunch of money too. Individuals who max out their $2,700, and this is the money laundering. This is where money laundering is happening in this campaign, and this is nothing new. The Clintons been having a problem with money laundering since their days in Arkansas. With the whole MENA investigation, go look at the movie American Made with Tom Cruise, and you can see a little bit of hint of that. There was so much money coming through MENA, Arkansas, through drug trafficking and everything else, through the CIA, blah, 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 that this whole city became rich. And watch the movie. Okay, but what the movie's not true. Nah, some movies are based on true stories, at least some account. It don't have to be all accounts, but some account. All right, so let me get back to this. But the limits are much higher for contributions to state parties and party national committee. Individuals who maxed out their $2,700 contribution limited to the campaign, the Hillary for America campaign, they can write an additional check for $353,400 to the Hillary Victory Fund, the fundraising effort. So no, you can't get no more than $2,700 individually for the Hillary for America campaign, but the Hillary Victory Fund, which is a fundraising money laundering organization, I didn't say that, you can give them up to $320,000. And you can also give $33,400 to the DNC. So big money insiders from Hollywood, from corporations, they were able to give her much more money. They just couldn't give it individually through her campaign. So they went through the other avenues of the campaign, the Hillary Victory Fund being one. And some money going to the DNC. The money would be deposited in the state first, and transferred to DNC shortly after that. Money in the battleground state usually stayed in that state, but all the other states funneled. Now, this is from Donna, Brazile own mouth being reported through Politico, which is not a right-wing magazine, which is pretty much a Hillary kiss-up magazine, newspaper. The money was funneled. The money was funneled. That's the key word. They funneled that money directly to the DNC, which quickly transferred the money to Brooklyn, which is Hillary Clinton's headquarters. They named the whole street after Clinton. Clinton Ave. I know that place very well. So they transferred to DNC shortly after that. Money in the battleground state usually stayed in that state, but all the other states funneled that money directly to the DNC, which quickly transferred the money to Brooklyn, back to Hillary Clinton headquarters. So it started off with a little money going to the Hillary Clinton campaign, but a bunch of money going to the Hillary Victory Fund, which went to the DNC, which went to the different states, and the states funneled it back to the DNC, and the DNC funneled it back to Hillary Clinton's headquarters. That's money laundering 101. And you guys want to continue to suck up and say Hillary. She is a bona fide crook. I've been telling you that. But that's okay. Most of Washington, D.C. are crooks. They're not people of honor. They're not people of integrity. But she do a lot for black people. What? What has she done for black people? Her husband put most of us in jail. She kicked people off of welfare. Well, not her, but her husband. But she was his biggest cheerleader. And she went out in front in media to tout these plans that her husband pushed with the hopes and inspiration of being one day president herself. She was his biggest cheerleader. She's the biggest mouthpiece. She was literally his TV operative campaign manager or spokesperson. She was literally her husband's media spokesperson. She went all on TV talking about these programs, and that's where you got the black men are super predators, touting his crime bill, touting the bill that kicked a lot of people off welfare, made them have to perform like monkeys to get some kind of assistance on welfare, fund private prisons, all this, and you think she's your hero. I'm telling you, most of these politicians are not the minority's hero. They only do things, halfway do things for us because they want to stay in office. They know we are the real majority and we control whether you're going to get in office or not. They're not going to do nothing for us. Now, let me get back to this. Well, come on, people. Stop. Get your head out of Hillary Clinton's behind, because you can't see to go forward or backwards or anywhere with your head up somebody's behind. That's what I say about the Trump huggers. Get your head up out of Trump behind. He's not your friend. He's the classist. If you don't have money, he don't give a crap about you. And he's not going to pass laws to give a crap about you. He pretend to give a crap about you to get your vote and support. Just like Hillary Clinton give a crap about black people just to get support, get your support and get your money and your vote. When they get in office, they're not going to do anything. They say they are, but not. And here we are. We got Obama, been president for 8 years. We gave him 2 chances and still nothing concrete for the black community. So come on, people. Let me continue. I'm almost done. The DNC quickly transferred the money to Brooklyn. Wait, I said. The Victory Fund was supposed to be for whoever was the nominee in the state party races. And you're telling me that Hillary has been controlling it since before she got the nomination? Yes. Before she got the nomination, she was controlling all this. Gary said the campaign had to do it or the party would collapse. In other words, it was all for good cause. If we didn't do these extreme measures, if we didn't break the law, funding money and all that, and shift shaping, just like Mueller found out about Paul Manafort, if I didn't shape all this money I got into these different corporations, then I was going to get found out. I had to make it look like that I was making legit money, so I shift-shaped this money. Gary said if we didn't do that, the party would have died. What are you going to do now that the party is not getting money now? You crap on Bernie Sanders, who is your only life support now. Hillary Clinton is gone. And the jig is up. After this, she ain't running for president, so forget about it. She said that was the deal that Robbie stroked with Debbie. Now, we're talking about Robbie Mute, another Clinton kiss-up, another suck-up that need to be in jail, part of that rigging crew. That was the deal that Robbie struck with Debbie, he explained, referring to campaign manager Robbie Mook. It was to sustain the DNC. We sent the party nearly $20 million from Hold up, I thought you were broke. We sent the party nearly $20 million from September until the convention and more to prepare for the election or the general election. What's the burn rate, Gary? I asked. How much money do we need every month to fund the party? The burn rate was $3.5 million to $4 million a month. Now, here's the ticket. All those letters you send people like me and you who watching, I'm quite sure you got so many Clinton suck-ups that they can raise $3 to $4 million a month. And I'm quite sure they made more than that. All fundraising. Some of you who decide to back Bernie and support in his support for Hillary probably gave money to Hillary too. You trying to tell me all these people who so-called led her in votes, I'm winning, that all these people didn't give enough money to support her the DNC? I had a pretty good sense of the DNC operations after having served as interim chair 5 years earlier. Back then, the monthly expense were half that. What had happened, the party chair usually shrinks the staff between presidential election campaigns, but Debbie has chosen not to do that, not to shrink the staff. She has struck lots of consultants on the DNC payroll, and Obama's consultants were being financed by the DNC too. When we hung up, I was livid. Not at Gary, but at this mess I had inherited. I knew that Debbie had outsourced a lot of the management of the party and had not been the greatest at fundraising. I would not be that kind of chair, even if I was only an interim chair. Did they think I would just be a surrogate for them? Yes, you are, and you always be. I don't know what made you put this in the book, but I guess you're being smart. I understand. I mean, your chances of being implicated in a lot of this mess, especially in the rigging of the election, which you feeding questions off before CNN, which should be against the law. I guess basically, hey, if I'm going to go to jail, I better raise some money to take care of my family while I'm in jail. Because had Trump did this, or somebody working in Trump party, y'all would be asking for him to go to jail, and rightfully so. But why do you think you get a pass? He need to go to jail for smoking that weed, having that weed in his pocket. But yo, you got weed in your pocket right now. You just didn't get caught. So when you get caught, are you going to try to say, I don't need to go to jail? Yo, you just did the same thing they did. So I understand what you're doing, Donna. You got a book to sell. And you want to make sure you do better than what Hillary Clinton with her sorry behind book, what happened. You want to reach a broader audience. Because Hillary Clinton knew that the Bernie Sanders supporters weren't going to buy that crappy book. She knew the independents don't going to buy that book. The book is flopping now because the only people that's buying it are her kiss-ups. People who got their head up her behind and can't see. They're the only one bought that book. That book got so many bad reviews, and now it's discounted. And she ain't making no money. But Donna, on the other hand, she's talking about something we knew, and a lot of us might go ahead and read that book because it validates everything that we said. So we'll probably buy that book just for validation and hold it up and say, this is what the DNC interim chair says. So independents might buy it, Republicans might buy it so they can talk about it on this show because they're talking about it right now. It is a buzz on the internet. It's buzzing right now. So the book is going to get a lot of attention. A lot of people are going to buy it. She'll make enough money just in time to have in a savings account for her wife. Yeah, I think she's married to a woman. But for her wife, where she could sustain herself if she decides to go to prison. But that, I doubt if she'd go to prison. I mean, because she could be used to get a plea bargain to really go in on the DNC with Paul Manafort, just like the Clinton people are going in. With Mueller, like the Clinton people and like the Paul Manafort people are doing right now. All right, so she was livid, she was upset, she was frustrated, and she was mad. And she basically said, "What do you think? I'm gonna be a surrogate for them? Get on the road and rouse up the crowd?" Well, you've been doing that with this Russian narrative, Donna. Come on now. Come on. I was going to manage this party the best I could and try to make it better, even if Brooklyn did not like this. It would be weeks before I would fully understand the financial shenanigans that were keeping the party in life support. Now, let me say something about Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not the DNC headquarters. Hillary Clinton headquarters is in Brooklyn, but I hate when people use the term Brooklyn. The Brooklyn city was not on her side. At one time they were, but Bernie Sanders is their homeboy. He's from Brooklyn. So Brooklyn ain't taking no sides in this at all. Stop saying Brooklyn. Say the headquarters of Hillary Clinton in Brooklyn. Stop saying Brooklyn. That's crapping on my people in Brooklyn. I got a lot of my co-workers are in Brooklyn. Come on. Brooklyn did not like this. Office in Brooklyn did not like this. It would be weeks before I would fully understand the financial shenanigans that were keeping the party on life support. Now I'm going to stop this because this is going too long. I got to get ready. Right around the time of the convention, the leaked emails revealed Hillary Clinton campaign was grabbing money from the state parties for its own purpose, leaving the states with very little support down ballot races. And Political Story published this in May 2nd, 2016. Go look that up. Now, that proves that Julian Assange, once again, is right. The whistleblower was 100% correct. So stop hollering this Russia thing. In the article on May 2nd, 2016, described the big fund and raise vehicles she had launched through the state the summer before, quoting vows she had made to rebuild the party from the ground up. When our state parties are strong, we win. This is a quote from her. Describing the big fundraising vehicle she had launched through the states the summer before, she was quoting a vow that she made that she will rebuild the party from the ground up. And our state parties will become strong, we win. When our state parties are strong, we win. That's what will happen. Yet the state kept less than half of 1%. Half of 1%. In other words, this was all a scheme to get her more money to try to win the election, and she still lost. She is a horrible campaign, y'all. Yeah, I'm from the South. Y'all, she is horrible. She can't raise money. She got all these shenanigans and all this conning and scheming and conniving, stabbing people in the back. Why are you just talking about Trump? Rightfully so, talk about how bad Trump is. Now he's the president, especially as president, and not talk about this. Well, she's not the president. What this got to do with her being president? This lady still holds a huge leadership role in the Democratic Party. She's going around on the tour saying, it ain't my fault, in the words of Mysticals, that I lost. It is your fault. It is. And you hacks are sitting up here sucking up to her, and whenever somebody else come up with something against her, you want to bash or you want to try to get people to get back on the Trump train. No. I'm jumping on Trump. I'm jumping on Hillary. I'm jumping on anybody that is part of corruption and need to be rooted out. It is killing our country integrity. We could never make America great, and America never was great with all these people in there, and it will never get to be a great country with all this con and scheming and this crookedness going on both sides. And you party hacks got your head up the behind that you can't see how wrong she is in this. Even with the evidence. She couldn't see, well, it's just email. It's not just email. She got a server in her house transferring information from the State Department into her house, totally disregarding what the State Department leadership said and what CIA and what the intelligence agency had told her not to have a BlackBerry and all that. She totally disregarded them. I mean, basically saying, kiss my behind, I'm going to do whatever I want. Exposing top secret information. Whether it was retroactive or not, it still was top secret. She broke the law. And she's breaking the law in this. And they keep slapping her on the hand. And I hope with Mueller, we'll get a different thing going on, because all of them on both sides need to be brought out. The states kept less than 1% of the $82 million they had amassed from the extravagant fundraiser of Hillary Clinton's campaign was holding. You want to know why the Democrats lost the House and Senate? Because they didn't have the money to run a real campaign. Hillary Clinton took all the money. So you want to continue to blame Trump? You got to blame Hillary for Trump, and you got to blame Hillary for the fact that Democrats or those who are leaning progressive are not in the majority in the House and Senate. That's why. $82 million they had amassed from the extravagant fundraisers Hillary Clinton campaign was holding. Just as Gary had described to me when he and I had talked in August, when the political story described this arrangement as essentially money laundering for the Clinton campaign. That's what Politico called it. Hillary people were outraged at being accused of doing something shady. Politico say this is money laundering. It is. Anytime you're taking money from here to put it there, to put it there, to put it there, to try to make it legal or to try to use it to control people, it is money laundering. And it is a crime. And people say, at the end of the day, it's all about money. Yes. But when it's money laundering, that makes it worse. And she's saying, when the political story described this as arrangement as essentially money laundering for the Clinton campaign, Hillary's people, the one who got their head up their behind, were outraged at being accused of doing something shady. Bernie's people were angry for their own reasons, saying this was part of a calculated strategy to throw the nomination to Hillary, and it was. I wanted to believe Hillary, who made campaign finance reform part of her platform. That's a joke. But I had made this pledge to Bernie and did not want to disappoint him. I kept asking the party lawyers and the DNC staff to show me the agreement that the party had made for sharing the money they raised, but there was a lot of shuffling of feet and looking the other way. When I got back from my vacation in Martha Vineyard, wow, Donna, Brazile, you got some money hanging out in Martha Vineyards. I at last found the document that described it all. The joint fundraising agreement between the DNC, the Hillary Victory Fund, and the Hillary for America. In other words, she found the document. Ample evidence. 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 That's the only way you can get a true conviction, when you got the evidence. The agreement, signed by Amy Dacey, a former CEO of the DNC, the former CEO of the DNC, and Robbie Mook, with a copy of Mark Elias, specified that in exchange for raising money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party finances, strategy, and all the money raised. So it's in documented evidence. This was a signed agreement by Amy Dacey, the former CEO of the DNC, and Robbie Mook, who was Hillary's campaign manager, with a copy to Mark Elias, specified that in exchange for raising the money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party's finances, the party's strategy, and all the money raised. All the money raised. Who will control it? Not the people, not the workers of the DNC, not the staff, but Hillary Clinton. Her campaign had the right of refusal of who would be the party communications director, and it would make final decisions on all other staff. The DNC also was required to consult with the campaign about all other staffing, budgeting, data analytics, and mailing. So you wonder why they leaned toward her? Is because she became the Democratic Party. She became the slave masters, the pimp pimping of the Democratic Party. And all those leaders became her whores. I had been wondering why it was that I couldn't write a press release without passing it by Brooklyn. Well, here's the answer. Stop saying Brooklyn. Start saying by the office in Brooklyn. Here's why. When the party chooses the nominee, the custom is that the candidate's team start to exercise more control of the party. If the party has an incumbent candidate, as was the case with Clinton in 1996 or Obama in 2012, this kind of arrangement is seamless because the party already is under control of the president. When you have an open contest without an incumbent and competitive primaries, the party come under the candidate's control only after the nominee is certain. When I was manager of Al Gore's campaign in 2000, we started inserting our own people in the DNC in June. This victory fund agreement, however, had been signed in August 2015, just 4 months after Hillary announced her candidacy, and nearly a year before she officially had the nomination. In other words, let me put it in a nutshell. Usually, if you're running for a second term, you control the party. You control the fundraising because you're running again and you don't have an incumbent. You should still have a challenger no matter what. Don't just give the office to somebody who especially haven't done nothing the first 4 years. Why are you just going to let them go ahead and take the assumption so they can just expect to get your vote for the next 4 years? Make them earn it. Give them somebody to run against them. Make them step up to the game, step up into the plate instead of walking to home plate. But when you are not running no more and the seat is open, usually the person who wins the nomination takes over the leadership of the party. In this case, according to Donna Brazile, that didn't happen. That took place in 2015, a year before she was even nominated. And she had a challenger at that time. When you have an open contest without an incumbent and the competitive primaries, the party comes under the candidate control only after the nominee is certain. When I was manager of Al Gore campaign in 2000, we started inserting our people into the DNC in June. Why? Because Al Gore won the campaign, the nominee for the primaries. All right, we almost done. I had tried to search out any other evidence of internal corruption that would show that the DNC was rigging the system to throw the primary to Hillary. But I could not find any in party affairs or among the staff. I had gone department by department, investigating individual conduct for evidence of skewed decision, and I was happy to see that I had found none. Then I found this agreement. The fundraising arrangement with HFA, or Hillary for America, and the Hillary Victory Fund agreement was not illegal, but it sure was unethical. If the fight had been fair, one campaign would not have controlled the other party before the voter had a decision which one they wanted to lead. This was not a criminal act, but as I saw it, it was compromise to party integrity. No, I agree with you halfway. Hillary for America and the Victory Fund, having those two organizations were not illegal. But ship-shaving all that money back and forth, and majority of the money not going back to the state party nominees or the people running for office, that was illegal. That was money laundering, Donna. That was illegal. It was no different from what Paul Manafort did. Ship-shaving money. He did all that into the dummy corporation not to pay taxes. In this case, ship-shaving money. She did all that not to pay the people who were running for office, which is the reason why he lost the House and Senate. All that money was supposed to go to her. But yet you're going to get mad at Bernie Sanders because he won't allow you to have access to his voter base and ask them for money. No, because you're not going to double dip on us. Anyway, I'm almost done. If the fight had been fair, one campaign would not have control over the party before the voters and decided which one they want to lead. This was not a criminal act, but as I saw it, compromise party integrity. It was criminal. It was criminal as they come. Stop. Stop taking up for him. You're out here now. Go all the way. Go all the way. I had to keep my promise to Bernie. And they got that in big bold black. I had to keep my promise to Bernie. I couldn't do Bernie wrong. I had to. Bernie's my best friend. Oh, come here, Bernie. Give me a hug. I had to do right by Bernie. I was in agony as I dialed him. Keeping the secret was against everything that I stood for. All that I valued as a woman and as a public servant. Here's her plight to get sympathy. She's no different from Hillary Clinton losing and trying to become the victim. She was not the victim. She lost because she sucked. It wasn't Russia. It wasn't all these people out to get me. All these people are always out to get me, and that's why I can't get ahead in life. Stop using that excuse. You suck. You suck as a candidate. You sucked as a state senator. You sucked as a secretary of state, and you sucked as a presidential candidate, both in 2008 and 2016. You sucked. Admit to it. It's not being sexist. It's the truth. You're not that good. These people talking about you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, the most qualified, which they are qualifying. They qualified about you being qualified. Every position you held, you got a D-. It wasn't A+. Just because you hold a position don't mean that you're qualified to hold the next up position. No, if you hold that position and you were stellar, that makes you qualified. But you had that position and you suck, that definitely don't make you qualified for the next level, baby. You can't get that right. How you going to expect to get that right? So here's Donna, Brazile, chance of trying to get some sympathy from the Bernie Sanders supporters. I had to keep my promise to Bernie. I was in agony as I dialed him. It hurt me. It pained me. Keeping this secret was against everything I stood for. All that I valued as a woman and as a public servant. I finally called him and I said, "Hello, Senator. I've completed my review of the DNC, and I found the cancer in the DNC. I said, but I will not kill the patient." So you doing all this sympathy stuff still didn't make the right decision. You found the cancer, but you didn't want to kill the patient. No, baby, your patient was the cancer. There's a difference between the cancer and the patient. Hillary Clinton was not the patient. She was the cancer. The DNC was sort of the patient, but the cancer took over the body of the DNC and literally killed it. As I discussed the fundraising agreement that each of the candidates had signed, Bernie was familiar with it. Bernie was familiar with it. Bernie was familiar with it. I'm going to keep saying that. Bernie was familiar with it. But he and his staff ignored it. Him and his staff ignored it. You were familiar with it, Bernie, but y'all choose to ignore it. The most honest man on Congress right now, the most popular senator, saw the mess and ignored it. Why would you ignore it? Now, sure, he did talk about the rigging in the press and how it was one-sided, but he didn't ignore it. Why you didn't talk about this, Bernie? If you'd have talked about this, Bernie, from the jump start, you would be the nominee and you would be president right now. And because you did not expose the Democratic Party's cancer, the Hillary Clinton the Hillary for America and the Hillary Victory Fund, and how they shift money into different states, and none of that money went to the people running that state. Most of it went to her. With you knowing this and not saying nothing about it, put you in a position of going along with the program and being just as corrupt. Whenever you see somebody doing something, say something. That's the motto here in New York City. See something, say something. If you see a bag under and you don't report and it end up being a bomb, you're just responsible for that subway or that building or whatever blowing up, because you saw it. You saw and you knew what was in the bomb, in that bag. You knew what was in it and you didn't say nothing. You're implicated too. Now I know my birth support is going to get upset, but according to her, he saw it and ignored it. Now I believe that, because he didn't want to bring the party down. He wanted to make sure one of them get in office so Trump don't get in office. Why? Because he was scared of the fact of Trump being president, and he didn't want to be the reason why Trump won. Well, Bernie, it didn't work. They're blaming you anyway, just for the simple fact that you ran against her. You were not supposed to run against her. This nomination was supposed to go all the way to her, despite her being the cancer that would have killed the DNC, and ultimately it probably would have killed the democracy. I told Bernie I had found Hillary a joint fundraising agreement. I explained that the cancer was that she had exerted this control over the party long before she became nominee. Had I known this, Bernie, I never would have accepted the interim chair position. Had I known this, I would have never, ever, ever accepted the chair position. But here we were with only weeks before the election. Bernie took this stoically. He did not yell. He did not express outrage. Instead, he asked me what I thought Hillary's chances were. The poll was unanimous in her winning. But what he wanted to know was my own assessment. So Bernie, I guess he thought about this and he said, okay, I have not conceded. What is her chance of winning? If she have a high chance of winning, I'm not going to say nothing about this because I'll just hold my tongue just to keep Trump out of office. Bernie, it's not being a man of honor and integrity. It's not. It's not. Now, this is her accusation. I don't know if he really said this. He probably didn't. Then again, if he did, that lacks integrity, Bernie. I had to be frank with him. I did not trust the polls. I told him that I had visited states around the country and I found a lack of enthusiasm for her everywhere. And I was concerned about the Obama coalition and about the millenniums. I urged Bernie to work as hard as he could to bring his supporters into the fold with Hillary, and he did. He still wasn't buying into her. And to the campaign with all the heart and hope he could muster, he did. Biting his tongue, sweating, he did. He might find some of her positions too centrist and her coziness with the financial elites distasteful, but he knew, and I knew, that the alternative was a person who would put the very future of the country in peril. I knew he heard me. I knew he agreed with me, but I never in my life had felt so tiny and powerless as I did making that call. In other words, she found out about the dirt and how crooked they were, but she said, Bernie, come on, we need you. I mean, I know this is messed up. This is messed up, man. And it was messed up against you. And basically you would have won. But the deal is done. I mean, you conceded. And we're weeks from election. And got to get your people out there to support Hillary. Yeah, she's crooked and she took over the whole party and she's literally a cancer. But we got to support this cancer because we got a worse cancer that's about to be president. A cancer is a cancer. Cancer in general will kill you if you don't treat it, if you don't get rid of it. If you don't get rid of the cancer, it will kill you. So whether Trump is a cancer or Hillary Clinton is a cancer, both of them is killing our democracy. Anytime you got a person who take money to take control of a party and manipulate the party to her own gain, is not the type of person that need to be running this country. Just like any person like Trump is not the type of person need to run this country. And that's why I didn't vote for him. And I'll proudly tell you, I didn't vote for neither one of those crooks. I found honor and integrity in Jill Stein and I voted for her. But you throw the nomination. No, the nomination was thrown from the jump start. When y'all, let me say it. When y'all go out and put your money and support and campaign for crooks, you're going to get a crooked organization. I do not subscribe to that. I do not do that. And I will not do that. I'll always support the lesser of good, the greater good, not the lesser of two evil. No matter how much a chance they got. They would have had a chance if you would take my philosophy. But because of fear, which never gets you anywhere, the fear of Trump got you Trump. Because all you hollered was, The fear of Trump. You never said we're going to bring back jobs. We're going to put tariffs on. I mean, you never talked the language of the people to inspire them to go out and vote. Bernie did the talking. Hillary Clinton refused to talk Bernie's talk. Trump talked Bernie's talk, and he won. And that's the bottom line. I hate it, but he did. And she was too stubborn to make Bernie her VP. No, she goes out and get Tim Corporate Kane. And that's why she lost. When I hung up the call with Bernie, I started to cry. Not of guilt, but out of anger. We would go forward. We had to. All right, so that's the end of the story. She got a book coming out. This is breaking news. This is huge. I admire Donna Brazile for coming out with this. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's a bombshell. Why would she put herself at risk to come out like this? Well, I guess since Mueller is on the hunt for crooks on both parties, I guess she got to come clean. Especially now the Podesta group is being looked at next. I guess you got to come out clean. And hey, if I do end up going to jail, at least I could make about $30-40 million in book sales and leave that for my family for the until I get out in a few years. It's no different from somebody stealing money and hiding it. When they get out, they can go find that money and live a good life. It's no different. You know, no different. So I'm impressed, Donna Brazile, but you still a part of the problem. I guess after her calling you a water buffalo and throwing a glass at you, I guess you had enough. And I kept saying, why you keep letting Hillary Clinton doing you down to nothing? Stand up for yourself. Come on. Come on. All right, I'm done. Hey, look, the bottom line is this. What's done in the dark is going to come to light, as the scripture would say. And don't you dare think Hillary Clinton is untouchable. Your day will come. Alien Ness got Al Capone on tax evasion. Not on the many people he had killed, not on running alcohol illegally, but on tax evasion on the businesses that he had. He helped fund banks. He started legitimate businesses. He shaped his money, had that money going back from here to there, to here to there, and he forgot to pay his taxes. Paul Manafort, down, shape of money, forgot to pay his taxes. Hillary Clinton, the Ready for Victory Fund, Clinton Foundation, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm done. Like I said in the last video, they all are crooks. Majority of them are all crooks. And we need to get rid of all these crooks. I'm not an investigator, so I don't have that power. Mueller is a special investigator. And he has the power to do his thing. Because Jeff Beauregard Session ain't going to do nothing because he's just as crooked as the rest of them. And crooks going to look out for crooks. And that's the reason why Hillary Clinton is not in jail right now, because Comey looked out for another crook. I'm saying, Mueller, if you're going to get them all. I'm Bob TV, Freedom on Fire. Peace.